Hey guys, how's it going? Preparing here. In this video, I'm going to show you guys the gear on my softcore barb. Now, why would I want to do that? Well, I haven't really gotten any new gear for about a week. Right now, I'm playing hardcore, pretty hardcore, so it'll probably be the same gear for a while. And the reason I want to show you guys the gear is because I've been getting a lot of questions, like, what gear do I need to beat Inferno? What gear do I need for Act 1, Act 2, Act 3? I can only really answer half of that. See, we killed Inferno as a group, and after we did that, I was able to do Act 1 quite comfortably, and I struggled a little bit through Act 2, but I was able to do Act 2 as well. So I didn't really have the gear block until Act 3. We're talking about Inferno, of course. So what happened was I was farming Act 2 Inferno for a while, solo on my barb, and after maybe 2 or 3 days of acquiring enough gear, I was able to step it up to Act 3. I farmed there a little bit. I thought there would be a jump to Act 4, but there really wasn't. Act 3 and 4 are about the same difficulty level. So there's the big jump from Act 1 to Act 2, and the big jump from Act 2 to Act 3. But there really is no difference between Act 3 and Act 4. There may be a really small one, but if there is, it's significantly lower than the previous two acts. So let's get going here. Let me just show you my stats. Just so you understand, this is with the passives, with Nerves of Steel and Tough as Nails. I have the War Cry, but I'm not using it right now. Just to show you the stats. So these are my resists, and remember, this is the gear I needed to go through the whole game. All right. It was actually a little bit easy, so you probably could do it in a little bit less gear than I actually had. So if you look at the stats, my resists are just under 700 before the Warcry buff, of course. After Warcry, they're a little bit over 1,000. Maximum life, mid 50k, good spot to be. Life per hit 1,200. This is actually really high. But I did notice a huge difference. When I got this sword here with 847 life on hit, that really did it for me in terms of being able to solo like the bosses. Like before I had this weapon, I really struggled to solo Inferno Diablo. But after I got this weapon, like I would literally heal up when I would attack him. So it would make the world of a difference, really. Besides that, pretty unusual things that you probably haven't seen is 42% chance to block. And that's really about it. You can see my damage is not very high at 14k, but that's obviously secondary as we've discussed in previous videos. So let me just show you the gear. I'll discuss the stats, kind of how I got it. Remember that this gear is a little bit over a week old, honestly. So there's a lot better gear out there. The best way of acquiring gear is getting gold and spending it on gear. This is a gear-driven game, guys. I originally thought this game would be about the skills and all that stuff, and it is partially, but it is to a much smaller extent the skills as it is the gear. So you got to focus on the gear, and this is really the almost about the requirement to a complete Inferno on a barb. So let's get to it. Let's start with the fun stuff. So this is the weapon. I got this weapon for like 4.5 million like a week ago. It's probably at least double or triple that by now because there's a pretty big inflation going on in this the third week of the release. So this is a pretty insane sword. At the time when I got it, it was one of the highest DPS weapons on the market. Maybe there was like a 1,000 DPS weapon at the time as the max one-hander. But because of the strength, this really is pretty much top of the line for that time. And I just got it because the life on hit, and it's really good damage, and it's got strength. My strength is not that high because I'm a tank build, so it really helped me a lot. My shield is a storm shield. Storm shield is not the best shield, but it's very, very hard to beat a storm shield. The only shield upgrade from a storm shield is essentially a rare sacred shield with pretty much the same stats. Like you're going to want to have strength, vitality, all resists, bonus block with an already existing high chance to block. And you want to have those bonus affixes, reduce damage from melee attacks, reduce damage from elites, maybe reduce damage from range attacks, something like that. So that's some really good stuff. I picked up this ownership for 6.5 million. It was my first huge purchase. I thought it was a great deal at the time though, because this is a 31% block storm shield. The max you can get is 32. The reason it's not the best shield is because the block amount is the second highest. The Sacred Shields have a block amount that is 1,000 higher. So that's why it's not quite as good as the best possible shield, but it's really hard to get the best possible gear in this game. So I was pretty satisfied with that. Alright, let's start from the top now. So I got this helm. I bought this helm for like 2 million or so, maybe 2.5 million. This was a great deal. I just sniped it off the auction house. The vitality's low, but it's got the basics. It's got all resist 56, it's got plus armor, so that's about another 16 all resist. So this is like 72 all resist helm with a huge amount of strength, which makes up for the lower vitality in terms of armor. And it's got the socket, which is, in my opinion, required for any top tier helm. Alright, let's move on to the next piece. Then we'll discuss the things they have in common, as you can see, as you can make your own comparison later. So these shoulders, I'm pretty sure I actually found these shoulders. One of the only pieces that I actually found out of my gear. Really, really solid shoulders. I mean, they have all resist, they have intellect, making the resist about 71, and they have high strength and, some vitality. 80 vitality is pretty low for like top end gear, but it'll do for sure. All right, moving on to the gloves. These gloves I think were my last purchase before I went to hardcore, so I don't think I actually used them to kill Inferno, Diablo, and the rest of the game. But they definitely are pretty damn amazing. I think I got these for like 3 million, 3.5 million, which is a pretty killer deal at the time. They have the resist, they have the vitality, they have the high strength, cookie cutter stats, and you have the attack speed. Now, attack speed can actually spawn on gloves as well as bonus to crit, which can also increase your damage. But attack speed is a little better because it will amplify your life on hit if you're using an attack like Frenzy. If you have a higher attack speed, you're getting more attacks per second, you're getting more heals per second out of your life on hit. So these gloves are pretty ridiculous. You can get better ones though. I mean, you can always get better gear. If you want to talk about improving these gloves, instead of dexterity or instead of fire resist, you could have, plus armor. You could get these like maybe 500 armor. You can have higher attack speed. And instead of fire resist, maybe you can have physical resist, or maybe arcane resist. Our fire is pretty good resist actually, so let's not downplay that one. But like I said, that they can always be gear improvements here. Moving on to the chest. The chest, I got this I think for like 3 million pretty early on actually. I really had a very bad chest before this one. This one is literally cookie cutter gear for a Barb. Okay, huge armor, huge resist, huge vitality. Good game. That's all you need. Like, that's it. It doesn't have strength, it doesn't have sockets, so you can improve this by a lot, but at the time it was really the best I could get. And I tried to rush through the game, I tried to get the upgrades when I could get them. I did not focus on perfect gear. In perfect gear, you could probably just ruffle stomp the game pretty easily now. Alright, let's move on to the bracers. I've had these bracers for a while. They were traded to me by someone who was watching our stream. Again, you see the same pattern here, like, all resists, armor, really high vitality, some intellect for some bonus resist, and a little bit of strength. So very, very cookie cutter there. The belt is a string of ears. It's a 20% damage reduce from melee attacks. This one is with strength, so it's a little bit better than the average 20% string of ears, and that's why I got it. I needed the strength to help with the damage, as I'll talk about that a little bit later. And for the pants, these pants were also traded to me. I think this is my most expensive purchase. These were 7.5 million. I've never seen better pants, but I'm sure nowadays there are definitely better pants out there. So, oh yeah, the ghetto gems, don't worry about that. Alright, so these pants are insane. You got high armor, high resist, high vitality, high strength, 2 sockets. This is pretty much all the stats that you want on gear. If you can get gear like this in every single slot, you're just going to smash the fuck out of the game. Alright. Then I got these boots. These boots are found by Crippy. We found it in the pony level on Inferno. They're primarily caster boots, but the defensive value of these is off the charts. 71 all resist, bonus arcane resist, 135 vitality, and intellect to make up for more resist. So these resists are like 83 all resist. It's absolutely insane. Moving on to the jewelry, Kimbo's Gold. So Kimbo's Gold was the first item I ever purchased from the auction house. I bought it for 1.5 million on like day 2 of the game being released. This is the best one that I've seen to date, but there's better ones possible. So statement is probably not going to be true much longer. So Kimbo's Gold has 2 random properties, and the random properties on mine were Socket and Reduced Damage from Melee Attacks. So that's pretty ridiculous for 2 random properties. But the base properties are also very good. It's Strength, Percent Life, each hit adds life, and the not so good one, Chance to Knockback. But even still, I think it's a great amulet. You can absolutely get a better rare amulet though. So Kimbo's Gold is not really that essential. Moving on to the rings, we have a Justice Lantern. So this ring I actually bought really cheaply off the auction house. I think I got it for like 500k or something. In my opinion, it's the second best Justice Lantern you can get. The random stats on this Justice Lantern is the Strength and the Socket. I think one step up from this would be, instead of Strength, would be Attack Speed. It wouldn't be the Socket because eventually you get a better gem that would outweigh the Strength, I believe, but I could be wrong about that because I'm not so good with the high-end gems because they pretty much are non-existent to me. But yeah, Justice Lantern plus 11% block. That's why I have this ring. Block is great. You can block everything in this game. When you block an attack, it can still trigger a revenge. It's very good stat. It's not critical. You can replace this ring with just a rare ring, but the time I got it, it was a very good deal. You just want to look out for those good deals, man. Your whole gear is going to be based on gold, and the best deals you get for your gold are essentially going to determine how good the rest of your gear is going to be. And the last ring, I bought this for like 2.5 million. This is like a steal at 2.5 million. So you got a Vitality, Physical Resist, All Resist, Armor, and like Crit for a little bit bonus damage. So now that we've seen all the gear, I want you guys to look at my stats. So you can see that I have pretty high strength for a tank, and that was really the main focus. I was able to do Act 3 and Act 4 with about 800 strength, I believe, but it was really painful. Mobs would enrage on me and all the stuff that comes with that. So what I'm trying to say is, in Act 1 and 2, if all you do is focus on defense, you can do that. You can kill the mobs like an Earthquake and a Berserk, and you can do that. But in Acts 3 and 4, the mobs have a lot more life, and they're a lot more nasty, especially for a barb. They're the kind of mobs that run away from you, cut you, and all that stuff. And if they have more life and they're doing that kind of crappy reaction to your character, then your DPS uptime is going to be really low, and your overall DPS is going to be very low on those kind of mobs. And for me personally, I hit a little bit of a damage wall. So if all you do is focus on defense, you can kind of get away with it, but it's really frustrating. If you want to play through the game without dying very much, you also have to focus a little bit on damage, and that's why I've been getting a little bit more strength in the later acts. But that's about it, guys. Just keep in mind, this is the gear that's required to beat the whole game. Maybe a little bit under, actually. You can get a lot better gear. You can make the game really easy if you have really good gear. It's all about the gear in Diablo 3, trust me. You don't need gear quite as good as this to do Acts 1 and 2. Some people ask me exactly what requirements you need. I don't really know what to tell them, like I said earlier in the video, because I already had the gear when I did it. But I've looked at the auction house recently. I think with 1, 2, maybe 3 million, you can get like enough gear to do Act 1 and part of Act 2 quite well. And when you come to doing that, I think you should be able to progress through Act 2. And when you're doing that, you're going to pick up these items while you're doing it. And that's just how it works, man. You just play the game a lot. You get the items. Doesn't matter if they're good for you. You sell them on the auction house. You try to get a good deal, and you get that gold. You get the gold, and you get the rest of your gear. You get the rest of your gear. You finish Inferno. That's how it works, guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.